has other concerns about her pregnancy. Previously, she had explained to Gino why she had fears about having a baby with him. Using her past experience with JC, who has special needs, as an example, it is completely normal for a single mother like Jasmine to have worries about her unborn child. Jasmine became pregnant with her baby with Matt sometime after the show was filmed, which means her due date is in March-April 2025. She is hopeful and praying for a healthy and natural delivery. Jasmine believes she is nearing her due date as she is in her third trimester. She also thinks that her third child is much heavier than her son was when he was in her womb, suggesting that her third baby is healthier and thriving. This may be attributed to Jasmine's high level of fitness in recent years, particularly compared to when she was in her 20s. Our take on Jasmine experiencing a challenging pregnancy. This could possibly be Jasmine's last pregnancy. Jasmine is a healthy 38-year-old woman who works out almost every day. However, she is currently facing several health issues due to this pregnancy. A few days ago, she collapsed while shopping and had to be taken to the hospital. Although Jasmine is excited to have a baby with her close friend, Matt, this pregnancy may be her last. Due to the discomfort she has been experiencing, this may be the final baby, hopefully the 90-day. The last resort cast member will have a healthy baby and a smooth delivery experience. Jasmine Pineda shockingly accuses Gino Palazzolo of committing a crime after newest health scare amid pregnancy. Jasmine Pineda from 90 Day. The Last Resort has accused her husband Gino Palazzolo of committing a crime in a shocking new update after revealing she was hospitalized after fainting. Jasmine never wanted to have kids with Gino, but her opinions changed once Matt Brannis entered her life. Jasmine met Matt just a couple of months after she married Gino in Michigan. Jasmine and Gino's was not a happy relationship to begin with, so her dumping him was not surprising. In their debut, before the 90 Days Season 5, Jasmine suffered a meltdown when she discovered Gino's disturbing secret. Jasmine could be regretting forgiving Gino and accepting his proposal if her latest Instagram repost is to be believed. Jasmine reposted a video shared by blogger 90dayfiance_Alexa, where they included a clip of Jasmine confronting Gino when she was contacted by his ex-girlfriend. The fan captioned the clip, "Gino committed a crime by sharing Jasmine's nude photos, and not once does he apologize." They wrote that people should beware of everyone who is supporting Gino, who feels it's fuck, to send naughty pictures of his girlfriend to his ex. It's a crime, and yes, he could be sued and charged. The blogger declared, and Jasmine, reposting the same, shows that she agrees with what the blogger said. Why? Jasmine was contacted by Gino's ex via her DMs when Gino whisked Jasmine off to an island vacation in their very first season. The woman was not really Gino's ex-girlfriend, but a former sugar baby. Gino used to pay women to take them out on dates before he met Jasmine. This woman was an adult model named Lindsay who Gino had been in touch with. Gino sent her Jasmine's racy pictures to make her feel jealous. Gino kept insisting they were not nude pictures but were topless, and refused to admit he was in the wrong. Jasmine should have broken up with Gino then for what he did, but she forgave him. Perhaps Jasmine had her reasons, or perhaps she was too in love with Gino. Jasmine later started accusing Gino's ex of sharing the same pictures with Jasmine's place of work, which led to her getting fired. Interestingly, Gino is now hanging out with the same woman and recently shared pictures with her on his Instagram. This behavior by Gino may have affected Jasmine, who thought of reminding fans of what he had done just a few years back. Our take on Jasmine hinting at her split from Gino through her claims. Jasmine is having a hard time sticking to her storyline. Jasmine and Gino are still married. She has been suggesting that they are in an open marriage and that Matt is her best friend. However, Gino is clearly not in the picture anymore. Both Jasmine and Gino resent each other. Jasmine has even moved to Florida with baby daddy Matt and doesn't live in Michigan with Gino. Jasmine has been showing that she and Gino are together in a poly relationship to keep up with her 90-day. The Last Resort storyline when both Gino and Jasmine have moved on and are with other people. Gino Solo embarks on bold new chapter with sporty makeover as Jasmine faces money-making setback. Gino Solo from 90 Day. The Last Resort kicks off his fitness journey with a stunning makeover while Jasmine Pineda experiences a financial setback. Gino and Jasmine first connected through a sugar baby website, but their relationship quickly became serious. After meeting in Panama, they got engaged by the end of their debut season. In June 2023, the couple got married in the United States but struggled with intimacy for months. These issues led them with Juan's baby after learning he had cheated on her. She was probably scared of losing him and thought having a baby would stop him from straying. Jessica's plan seems to have worked as her social media posts suggest the couple is still going strong. Juan seems to have adjusted to his life in Wyoming, although it's nothing like the glamorous things he used to do when he worked on the ship. Juan is a family man now, choosing to spend time with his wife and 3 children instead of partying and going out. Our take on Juan and Jessica being together for 5 years. Is the past in the past for Juan and Jessica? Even if Juan may not have had strong feelings towards Jessica at the start, the past 5 years have helped him realize her value in his life. Juan knows that betraying Jessica was a mistake he committed and claims he did it because he is only human. Juan promised it would never happen again since he was with Jessica in person now and didn't feel lonely. However, the 90-Day Fiancé star was taken aback when he found out Jessica had been talking to her ex during that time. Despite the trust issues, Juan and Jessica are still going strong. Juan finally admits to cheating on Jessica during awkward night out with her friends. "I messed up." Even before his confession, Juan's move to Wyoming was off to a rocky start. Juan is finally owning up to cheating on Jessica as his new life in Wyoming gets off to a rough start. The Colombian native made the confession on the 4th episode of 90 Day Fiancé's 11th season during an awkward night out at a local bar with some of Jessica's friends. Juan previously denied the allegation, which involved him hooking up with another woman while on the cruise ship where he worked at the time. But Jessica's friends, including her co-worker Megan, repeatedly pressed Juan about the issue out of concern for Jessica's family and future. So when Megan questioned him once again, Juan finally admitted, "I messed up." Juan was still wary of Megan after she questioned him about the cheating allegation, while she and Jessica previously visited Colombia. Since then, he said his relationship with Megan has never been the same. But when Juan expressed his concerns to Jessica before the outing, she urged him to remain positive while interacting with her inquisitive coworker. "Positivity is key," she added. Despite this, Juan was visibly annoyed when Megan inevitably questioned him at the bar. In a confessional, Juan complained that Megan had gotten too involved in his relationship, adding that it was not healthy for me and Jessica. Megan insisted that she had her coworker's best interests at heart, but Juan argued, "Being here and quitting my job and just giving up on everything, I think that's, again, good enough." Still, Megan was struggling with the lack of answers from Juan. Eventually, she got the confession she was looking for. "Did you sleep with that girl?" Megan asked Juan, to which he replied, "I did." Even before Juan's confession, his move to Wyoming was off to a rocky start. In previous episodes, Juan learned that Jessica and her 3 sons live in close quarters, with some rooms lacking doors among other privacy concerns. In a confessional, Juan acknowledged that sex and life were different in Wyoming than they were when he and Jessica were dating while he worked on the cruise ship. Luckily, the couple got some much-needed alone time during Juan's first morning in Wyoming, which included a quick make-out session in bed. Later on, Jessica took Juan on another brief tour of Torrington, this time during daylight hours. But the tour was underwhelming for Juan, who compared the slow lifestyle in Torrington to a retirement home. "The cruise ship in the town is a whole different thing. It's not the same life," he explained in a confessional. "I think she's wrong and don't want to accept it." Juan then suggested Jessica was not doing enough to help him with such a major transition. "My life is totally changing and this is not helping at all," he explained. "I think it's better if she just helps me get used to this new life than rather telling me you're wrong and this is the same thing and it's the same. It is not the same thing. And we all know that, besides her, I guess, he added. Juan David Daza and Jessica Parsons' cheating scandal explained. 90 Day Fiancé star Juan David Daza's past cheating scandal has come back to haunt him and Jessica Parsons in season 11. Juan is a 31-year-old man from Cali, Colombia, who has moved to Torrington, Washington on 90 Day Fiancé season 11 to marry his girlfriend and baby mama Jessica. Juan and Jessica were first seen in 90 Day Fiancé Love in Paradise season 3. Juan will now have to live with Jessica, their baby David, and Jessica's 2 sons, Dawson and Dayton, from her previous marriage. It's not going to be a smooth sailing journey for Juan and Jessica, since his loyalty will be tested. Jessica would constantly wonder if Juan would be able to adapt to the role of a father after having lived a carefree life on a cruise, even when he was in a relationship. While Juan deals with his new role as a full-time dad, he is going to be questioned by Jessica's friends about a mistake he made in the past. They're looking out for Jessica, while Juan is refusing to answer their questions by claiming it's his private life. How did Jessica and Juan meet? Jessica and Juan's storyline before 90 Day Fiancé. When Jessica was still with her husband, they'd planned to go on a cruise a year later on the same date with her friend Megan and her husband while they were drinking. When the date arrived, Jessica and her husband were in a bad place. She debated but ended up going on the cruise with Megan because she didn't want him to bring her down. Jessica decided to go have some fun, and on the very first day, when she and Megan were at the casino, a bartender walked up to them asking them for their drinks order. Juan and Jessica started getting Amani and Matt meet Annie. Where did Amani and Matt find her? Amani and Matt had been in a relationship with Annie for a year when they filmed 90 Day Fiancé season 11. They met Annie in Mexico at a strip club. They had a lot of things and went back to the hotel together as they continued getting to know each other. Matt and Amani felt like it wasn't a regular hookup and feelings started to develop. Matt and Amani wanted fans to see that there was a long-term commitment involved here, just like any two-person relationship. They considered Annie as their better half. This is our first polyamorous relationship, and it's been really fun. Amani admitted that every throuple is different, but they spoke to Annie every day. They knew each other's children and celebrated holidays together. Having a long-distance relationship was hard because they couldn't have physical interactions often. However, they demonstrated how they keep things spicy with Annie via role-playing in their debut 90 Day Fiancé episode. Interestingly, Matt was skeptical at first because Amani is bisexual, and he thought there was something he wasn't able to fulfill for her. The more we talked about it, the more we opened up to the idea together, he added. Matt and Amani needed to get divorced for Annie's K-1 visa. Who will marry Annie eventually? Matt and Amani fell in love with Annie and fell in love with each other all over again too. However, there was one tiny issue they had to tackle, which was that they were legally married. Their only option was to get legally divorced, so one of them could apply for Annie's K-1 visa. Amani and Matt had spent about 24 days with Annie in person in their entire relationship, but they were traveling back to Mexico to see Annie. They'd met Annie's youngest daughter, Antonella, and not Annie's other 2 kids. The next level was going to be to propose to Annie and get married and build a life together. Annie betrayed Amani's trust. Annie's hiding her relationship with Amani from her family. Matt and Amani drove to Mexico to spend time with Annie and wished to go to Ensenada and Guadalajara to meet Annie's family. Annie claimed she was a little scared of Amani meeting her family. Annie revealed that her brother thought Amani was her friend and Matt was her boyfriend. Amani realized she was the third wheel and thought it was triggering to be hidden by Annie. Annie also shocked Amani by revealing that she slept with Matt after Amani went to sleep. Amani was upset that Matt didn't ask her if it was okay for them to do it. Meanwhile, Matt felt like Annie telling Amani about what happened was them ganging up on him. The throuple's obvious communication issues were revealed on this 90 Day Fiancé episode, but their social media profiles showed that they've managed to overcome these hiccups. Amani's latest post is about the 3 of them serving looks, drama, and a whole lot of *realness*. However, Amani told a fan, That's something that kept Mike as a backup, which was revealed when she went to him asking for a baby after realizing Josh never wanted to have kids with her. Mike didn't wait for Natalie to come back either. He made his relationship with Sarah Instagram official in June 2023 and soon became a father figure to Sarah's dog. Mike and Sarah completed 2 years of being together in December 2024. It's commendable that Sarah has stayed with Mike, even though he is still married to his estranged wife. Our take on Mike still going strong with Sarah despite Natalie's marriage. Did Natalie go back to Mike after Josh split? If roles were reversed, and it was Natalie in Sarah's place, she wouldn't have liked that Mike was still married on paper to his ex-wife. Sarah's maturity is revealed through her decision to be with Mike, and the same can never be said about Natalie. It's possible that Natalie tried to reconcile with Mike after her split with Josh on 90 Day, the last resort. However, Mike's love for Sarah is unwavering. 90 Day Fiancé star Mike and Sarah's being into each other, even when the cameras aren't watching, speaks volumes about them as a couple. I've been watching how 90 Day Fiancé star Natalie Mordaunt-Seva is ensuring that Mike Youngquist never gets to taste true happiness. I first saw Natalie in 90 Day Fiancé Season 7 promos. She had the most striking eyes with the blonde hair belonging to a doll. Natalie had met Mike through their mutual friends, but they couldn't have been any different from each other. I thought Mike and Natalie were the definition of opposites attract when it came to their relationship, as they had height, religious, and dietary differences. Natalie still wanted a baby with Mike even before coming to America. She conveniently forgot about it when she came to live with him in Sequim. The baby seemed to have been a storyline that Natalie created for when any of her relationships needed some drama. She even went back to Mike in the Single Life Season 4, asking him to impregnate her. Natalie is that shameless. Trish was right all along. Natalie used Mike for a green card. Natalie had thrown her engagement ring at Mike as he packed his bags at the end of the Ukraine trip in the finale. Natalie wanted nothing to do with Mike, and she even accused him of cheating during the Season 7 tell-all. Natalie claimed Mike had cheated on her. The woman was named Sarah, and Mike had stayed with her the night before Sarah's own wedding. I recall Natalie concluding that Mike and Sarah had slept together. Sarah appeared during the tell-all of Season 8 and quickly made it clear that Natalie's accusations stemmed from her own paranoia. Natalie had supposedly seen Mike shirtless on that night when she had video called him, and she could hear Sarah taking a shower in the background. Natalie and Mike were over during the Season 7 tell-all, yet Mike did not pull the K-1 visa application, and Natalie was granted permission to come to America. If Natalie didn't love Mike anymore, she would have decided to skip the U.S. move. But she came anyway because it had always been about marrying an American man to Natalie. She didn't care who she was marrying. Watching Mike giving his own fiancée the cold shoulder for an entire season and refusing to return the ring to her gave me secondhand embarrassment. Natalie kept pleading to Mike for the ring. He also called off their wedding at the last minute. However, Mike made the biggest mistake of his life by marrying Natalie out of guilt just a day before her K-1 visa was about to expire. Mike had canceled his wedding because his mother, Trish, had told him to do so. Mike's mother, Trish, was very vocal about her dislike for Natalie and often expressed her frustration on the show. I recall Mike being called a mama's boy and being compared to Colt Johnson. However, Trish had a nagging feeling that Natalie was taking advantage of her son. She got her "told you so" moment when Natalie left Mike to go date other people in a different state. I agreed with Trish calling Natalie a snake because Trish believed that Natalie primarily came to America to secure a green card and had no genuine intention of building a life with Mike. Natalie found a new boyfriend. Maybe she's trying to make Mike jealous. Natalie left Mike within 3 or so months of marrying him. All that drama of wanting to marry Mike was just so she could continue to live legally in the U.S. A year ago, and good time we are together in Philippines, Cebu. David wrote in his caption. He mentioned that he and Sheila can't wait to get married in future, but they can't do it because the visa are so powerful than them. David added, and her friends real knew we want get married, but I can't. David mentioned they have to wait for a long time. He expressed disappointment at how there would be a loss for long-distance relationships for good if their visa issue didn't work out. I can't wait for a long time because my age. David confessed that he seemed to be close to giving up on Sheila since he was getting older and couldn't keep waiting forever. He wants a woman in his life who he can love. He hopes that Sheila and his fans can forgive him and understand his plight. On a lighter note, David wrote, "And I never forget I not pay insurance for rent car lol I can't afford. I was so lucky." He sent love to all his followers in his message. What it means that David still wants to get married to Sheila. David wants to marry Sheila, but he seems ready to move on. David wants to be with Sheila, but the relationship would only work for him if Sheila moved to America. David and Sheila also faced communication problems due to her not having learned sign language. David had hired an interpreter who Sheila grew jealous of. David helped Sheila with building a house back in the Philippines. However, he wishes to have a house of his own in America, where he can spend a lifetime with her, her son John Rail, and any future babies David might have with Sheila. Unfortunately, Sheila's visa rejection may have caused David to change his mind. David seems to be feeling anxious about growing older without a companion, and the fear of Sheila's visa taking more time than expected to get approved is lingering on his mind. He has already spent several years in a long-distance relationship, and David doesn't want a long-distance marriage now. It appears he is ready to start dating in the US and meet someone locally who he could marry instead of Sheila. David has also faced financial issues and had previously asked fans to give him money to help build a house for him and his fiancée. Our take on David still wanting to marry Sheila despite setbacks. David really loves Sheila, but time is not on their side. While David had not given up entirely, his message to fans asking them and even Sheila to understand him seemed like a warning sign. David's patience is running thin. Even Sheila must be getting frustrated with having to wait forever to be with her man. David might never want to move to the Philippines, where he could live a comfortable life if he wanted. David hasn't really explained why the K-1 visa application was not accepted. However, 90-Day Fiancé. Before the 90 days, fans seem to be hopeful about David and Sheila reuniting soon and are sending them prayers. David Dangerfield from 90-Day Fiancé. Before the 90 days, should consider finding a new partner instead of waiting for Sheila Mangabat. I was a big fan of David and Sheila's journey in 90-Day Fiancé. Before the 90 Days Season 6, I enjoyed their story because they were both down-to-earth people, unlike some superficial cast members like Jasmine Pineda and Shekinah Garner, who joined the show to promote their businesses. I appreciated David and Sheila's journey because they faced communication challenges due to their hearing impairments. Despite the cultural and financial obstacles, they never gave up on their love. David's on-screen journey began when he traveled to the Philippines to meet Sheila. Although he had some reservations, he hoped things would work out. Upon reaching Sheila's home, he realized that she lived in a dilapidated house and was the sole provider for her family, which included her father, mother, and 12-year-old son, John Rail.